Good morning, everybody. This is Patrick Lee. It's midweek motivation live time. I hope that y'all are doing all right this week. It is 10 o'clock. We had a date, right? We had a date. Let me get some of these additional books out of my way. I hope everyone's doing all right today. Going to give everybody a minute, just a sweet minute to jump on here. It's usually a couple minutes after and people start tuning in. I'm sure we'll have people tuning in here in a minute. We're going to be talking about embracing change this week, how to embrace change in your life. You better learn to embrace change in your life if you want to live long, happy, and successful lives. Learning to embrace change is crucially important. I made an announcement. We're going live. People are already starting to tune in. That's awesome. I hope everyone's doing great today. I'm a two-fisted drinker. Today I've got coffee in one hand and water in the other. As we continue to go, I'm embracing change today, and I will change from water to coffee and back and forth. We want to talk about change today. I hope everyone is doing all right as we're letting people tune in. Good morning, Pete. Good to see you on here. I am awake. Good morning, Christine, Sal. A lot of people already tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. A lot of people tune in each week, and then they private message me and send me other messages about the message or the video that day. I appreciate that very much. I am awake. Thank you, Pete. I've been up since very early this morning and already had a lot of business going on and a lot of phone calls. But it's always 10 o'clock. It's always time for Midweek Motivation Live. And this week, I do want to talk to you about embracing change. Many of you are going through some changes in your life. Good morning, Christine. Getting your chai on. I love that. That's awesome. I'm sure it's an earlier morning for you out in the state of Oregon. It's probably nice and cool out there today. But you've gone through a lot of change in your life, I'm sure, in the last few years, as have many of you watching today. Change is inevitable. One of the things that we need to learn about change is that we need to learn to embrace change, or change is going to happen to us anyway. Have any of you, give me a like, love, heart, whatever, or a comment if you have been through some major changes in the last couple of months in your life. Surely with coronavirus going on right now, this is the middle of October in the year 2020 for posterity purposes in the future when this is in a podcast and the audio is going out. People will understand what time it was, what time of year it was. And we're going to talk about this change. Many things are going on in your life that are causing change with coronavirus that's been going around the country and the world. Many people I know that are being affected by it actually right now. I have people that are in the hospital, friends and family members that have been overcome with this. And I just received word today from a client friend that her seemingly healthy boss just passed away of coronavirus yesterday. It's very tragic. But there are people that are dealing with this change in our life and many others that are not. This is a huge issue that we're all battling right now. And friends locally in the hospital with it now. My wife's father has had it, and stepmother has tested positive, and many other people that we know that have tested positive and are already over it. So everyone has an opinion about it, right? The viewer, it's funny, I started saying the words coronavirus and then the viewers started coming in and getting higher on the screen. Interesting. So things like this do happen. And one of the things that is, if it's happening to us so much, is how it's affecting our lives. It's affecting our lives in a huge way. It's changing who we are, what kind of people we are, the way we go about our daily affairs. And it's causing a lot of mixed emotions with people. People are angry, they're mad, they're upset. People are loving. We've been talking about the debates, the presidential race that's going on right now, and then the vice presidential race as well. There are people that are upset about so many things that They support, the Trump view on this. There are other people that support the Biden view on this. Thank you, Tammy. Amen. Yes, prayers for everybody. I appreciate that. So change is inevitable. It is happening to all of us, whether we like it or not. We can either choose to stick our head in the sand and deny that and expect things to get better. But one of the things that we need to realize is that nothing gets better until we make it better. So embracing change, I want to talk to you about today, is a choice that we have to either accept the things that are happening around us and effectively make plans and preparations to deal with that. Or if we fail to do that, we will end up allowing those things to happen to us on their time, their terms, in their mannerisms, and we have very little control over how that happens. So my challenge to you this week as we go through this talk is for you to embrace change, take a great inventory mentally and physically around you of the things that are going on in your life, and put plans in place to make that happen in a way that is going to make you better. One of the biggest things that's happening with this right now with change is it's causing fear and doubt and maybe depression in some people's lives. And it can do that in a myriad of different ways. This client friend of mine that just lost her boss, they had just started a new startup company, and this is now affecting their employment. Maybe you work at a company where you got furloughed from your job and got laid off for a while, and you don't have a lot of money in the bank, and this change is affecting you financially. Maybe this has affected your relationship with your loved one in a bad way, and one of you supports one viewpoint on it, and another of you is living in fear and don't know how to get your faith enacted. So you can get on top of this. But one of the things that we need to understand is that if this change is happening to us and we don't like it, we don't necessarily accept it, we start just holding it inside, we suppress our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, that suppression can have a psychological effect on you. And suppression, one of the things I have learned in the past is that suppression equals depression. Is that what you want? I don't think that it is. Suppressing your feelings, not allowing yourself to discuss the way you feel or the things that are happening in your life. You turn the phone over. Even though it's turned down, the screen is still a distraction. If we fail to take inventory of our lives, our feelings, our thoughts and emotions, if we fail to take a hold of those, they have free reign to just run crazy on us and can cause all kinds of problems in our mind and in our spirit. And that depression comes from that. Depression usually comes from a deep state of loss or confusion. Confusion, because we've suppressed our thoughts, can also turn into depression. So I've talked with a lot of people lately that are battling this. Raise your hand, make a comment if this has affected you as well. You know somebody, if it's not you personally, you know somebody that's battling depression over the coronavirus or over other changes in their life. Even if we weren't talking about this state right now that we're in with coronavirus affecting our lives and families, change is inevitable, and it happens around us all the time. Changes in our family, changes in our career, changes in our social circle. I have made numerous changes. I teach you people about change and different ways to level up your life, right? How to change the people around you. Show me your closest 5 closest friends. I'll predict your future. How to get better in life, how to increase in health, how to take better control of your finances. We teach all of those things on here because this is a motivational show, right? So I try to motivate you. And I try to walk out the things that I teach you, because if I don't accept them and do them in my own life, how can I expect you to do the same? It would be very easy for me to sit here and just make things up every week and say how rich I am, how successful I am, and the McLaren that I have parked outside in the driveway. Those things are simply not true. I don't own a McLaren or a Lamborghini or a Porsche. I drive a really sweet 6-year-old Dodge Ram pickup 4-wheel drive with a Hemi, and I love it. It's about paid off and gets me from where I want to go, and it's a good looking truck. But I am always constantly trying to level up in my life, and I have made change. I have embraced change in my life, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about it today. I left the company I was with about 3 years ago. I got into real estate at 50 years old because I wanted to change my life. It was a dream of mine, and I needed to chase this dream. So I embraced that change, and I took the real estate exam, and I became a real estate agent, and I went to work for one company, and I stayed there for about 5 years. Great company, had great partnerships, great teammates. I worked with a company called the Red Door Group for about 5 years. Was an incredible company. And then recently this year, my father passed away. Many of you know that my dad, Ken Lee, passed away at the very beginning of the year. And I also, at that point, took another inventory of my life because I do this frequently. For a couple of years, I had probably been battling the feeling that I knew change was coming, and I had been suppressing those feelings and continuing to move forward in the direction that I was going, all the while knowing in the back of my mind that change was coming. But we can't stick our head in the sand and expect things to get better, right? It just doesn't work. The ostrich is sort of famous for doing that. If it gets fearful, it'll stick its head in the sand, and it has this feeling that if I can't see it, then it can't affect me. But that's not true. It's not true at all. Change is going to happen to you whether you embrace it or not. If you ignore it, it's still going to happen. You can't stick your head in the sand and expect things to get better. The only way for things to get better is for you to accept them and manage them. What you fail to accept and manage will end up managing you. How many of you have experienced that in your lifetime? You've let things go and go and go, and eventually it starts affecting you in a way that is not positive in your life. And you realize that once you make a decision to make a decision, and you take the bull by the horns, as we like to say down here in the South, you start directing the show. You start piloting the ship and directing it in the direction you want to go. Now, what you fail to accept and manage will end up managing you. And that's true in your life, your relationships, and your finances. You had better get a hold of your relationships and your finances, or they will end up controlling you. So I made the change. I started my own team. I started adding people to my life, and these people, I tell you this all the time, it really is. You will be a direct result financially and socially of your 5 closest friends. So if you want to change your life, you need to change. Thanks, Logan. Amen. Logan says, amen, brother. It's just so true. What you fail to accept and manage will end up managing you. Show me your 5 closest friends and I'll predict your future. You will become a direct result. You know why that's true? Because we all like to do the things that we see our friends do that we enjoy. It looks like it worked for them and we want to do it too. Sometimes it's a pair of shoes and everyone starts buying a certain kind of pair of shoes. You know, a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, the black Cole Haan dress shoes with the white Nike sole became super fashionable. And I coveted people that had those shoes. I was like, wow, that's a nice pair of shoes. Who would have thought you can take a really nice, expensive dress shoe, combine it with a sport sole, a white sole, and it end up becoming, Ross says, amen, bro. And it end up becoming a fashion trend for men, right? Who would have thought that? So I looked and looked and looked online, and I said, man, I really want a pair of those shoes. And I finally found a website, and they were actually at a price that I thought was reasonable. And I went ahead and bought them, and I wore the heck out of those shoes, and I just recently got a new pair of navy blue Cole Haans with that white sole, and I love them. But I'm embracing change. There are things that I have ignored, things that I have wanted to do. And I've always said, I always put others ahead of me. So we always fail to invest in ourselves. We invest in ourselves last. If you're cooking a meal, you feed everyone else, then you go eat. That's how my mom used to do it. And we'd always say, Mom, go get some dinner. She's like, no, I'm worried about you. You don't worry about me. I'll eat later. We're like, no, it's not that way. People with a servant's heart always end up serving other people and not themselves. But I had to learn to embrace these changes. I had to start adding people to my life. There were people that were in my life that were not beneficial for me. So I didn't just, you'll get a kick out of this. Hey, yeah, John. Yeah, we're not going to be friends anymore. You're not beneficial. You're not going to be in my top 5. Yeah, no, you're not going to be in my top 5. Sorry about you, but I got to go. I just added Jim, and now Jim's going to be in my top 5, and you're not going to be in my top 5. Well, it doesn't work that way. How many of you know that if that's how you treated your friends, that, they would hate you? But you have to learn that there are different levels of friendship. There are different levels of partnership, right? You have friends that have been in your life, and they've held this one specific place. And as you've learned that you need to change that relationship changes, and that person's access to you changes, and it starts waning. That access becomes more controlled. They don't just have the ability to just call you 24 hours a day. They can't just text you and get an immediate response. But there are going to be people like that, and they're going to hold a certain place, and they're still going to be your friend, and we're still going to like them. We're still going to support them and the things that they do, but they're not going to be part of that inner circle. And I have added some people to my life recently for those reasons as well. I have a couple of great friends in my top 5, still in my top 5. But I've added a couple of people to that because I have dreams and goals, aspirations that I need. I'm embracing change, and I'm managing the change because I have a worthwhile goal that I'm chasing after. Does that make sense to y'all? If you have someplace you want to be, I tell you this all the time, you might want to talk to someone that's been there. They can show you the roadmap of how to get where you want to be. So I have goals, dreams, aspirations, places that I want to go, a kind of person that I want to become. And I believe that you do too. So one of the things I am telling you is you have to learn to embrace change. I'm doing it. I'm 56, fixing to be 57 in just a couple of weeks. And a lot of people say the older you get, the harder it is to change. We get stuck in our ways, right? We're set in our ways, and we can't change, but we have to learn to be nimble. You have to be light on your feet, almost like a cat. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for watching. This is great. I appreciate you so much. That's awesome. These are just truths that I have had to learn. We have to embrace this change. We have to add the people to our lives that are going to help us get where we want to go, that are going to help us with our finances. I've had coaches in my life, and I'll tell you, I believe in coaches. The people that I watch and listen to, Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, those are some of my favorites. And I was actually invited to join the Arete Syndicate recently. It's not like a crime syndicate. It's a motivational speaker syndicate with Ed Milet, and was invited to join their organization and start using them as coaches, going to their events and having personal calls with them and meet these guys. And I watch them faithfully. I watched some more Ed Milet videos this morning. He's an incredibly motivated guy with a great story, and he's poured a lot into my life, and a lot of that I've been able to share with you as well. But that's not one of the directions. I haven't decided to invest in that. Right now, I'm investing my time in that. And so I've been invited to that, but I recently hired another business coach. I hired a business coach, and that particular company I love and believe in wholeheartedly. But this coach, I started feeling myself going in a direction that was not not the direction that I felt I needed to go. And I've changed. I made a change there, and I'm always going to have people that pour into my life. I believe it's important. I believe it's important for you too. Have someone that can lead you, coach you, guide you. So right now I have a couple of other coaches that I listen to, and they're pouring into my life. And then I'm using my business relationships also to absorb knowledge and favor from them, as I in turn use the influence I have and the knowledge I have that I've gained in 56 years to help other people. And I encourage you to do the same thing. That's why I'm on here every week. Have made the choice to embrace change. And so I've started my own team. I recently moved into this office. You can tell it looks like it's a white wall behind me. That's actually the outside today. It's a very foggy day, almost like a temperature inversion outside. So as I was driving downtown to my new office, I couldn't even see my building. It was pretty funny. I was like, I know my building is there, but I couldn't see it because it was in the fog, but I knew it was here. And I had to get up here to do this video for you. So I have the new office. I'm adding people to my team. I love the people that have chosen to align with me on my team. And that's been a big change for us. And you know what? We just choose to not stick our head in the sand and say life is going to be what it is. We have chosen to embrace change. We welcome change because change brings favor. Change brings fresh inspiration. And new minds and new alliances and new relationships bring fresh air into the business and into the whole collective. And together we are growing. We're all growing and very happy moving down this road towards success. And success means a lot of different things to different people. But as we do these things, it helps us stave off or avoid staleness and suppressing bad thoughts and getting depressed because of the things going on around us. I choose to be motivated. I choose to try to motivate you. And I do that by adding people to my life. I'm learning to embrace change, and I want you to do the same. Take some steps this week to add a new person into your life. Start a new relationship with somebody. If you're battling depression, reach out to a friend. Or go someplace that you can meet friends and have a friend maybe introduce you to some other people that motivate them. I have friends that call me pretty regularly now and really just want to talk. And when we're done talking, they always say, man, I always enjoy talking to you. I always feel better when I'm done talking to you. And I get on this habit of telling them the same thing. I'm like, man, you may have called me feeling depressed, but by the time we were done talking, you motivated me to do better in my life too. So I feel better from talking with these people. A lot of the people I've recently added to my life, we have great conversations. And as we start sharing these concepts, our voices get higher and our eyes get brighter and our excitement level goes through the roof. And it's because we are building each other up in our spirit. We're embracing change, and that change creates growth. And that's what I want for all of you guys, to grow, to be more happy, to be more motivated. So that is my word to you this week. I've been on here about 25 minutes, and I know you all need to get back to work, as do I. But that's my challenge to you this week. Learn to embrace change. Don't stick your head in the sand and expect things to get better. They won't. What you fail to accept and manage will end up managing you, or it will manage to walk out of your life. And that's not something that you want. Suppression, the other point, suppression equals depression. Is that what you want? I certainly don't think so. And then this final thought I want to give you is this one of the plant. A plant can never grow to its potential in the wrong environment. Neither can you. If you feel yourself in the wrong environment today, that's up to you to make that change. A succulent plant can sometimes grow in a drier, arid environment. An aloe vera plant, a rubber tree, some different cactuses can grow for a long time in a dry environment. But there are other plants that need a very moist, wet environment. They need more shade to flourish. If you have a plant and it's not flourishing, what do? Do you blame the plant? Call it a stupid plant? Tell it it'll never grow? Of course not. You change the environment of the plant. You change the soil. You change the amount of water and food that you give it. And when you find the right equation, right? That plant flourishes and it grows to its highest potential. And that's the same thing that I want from you. Sometimes you have to change the environment that you're in for you to grow to your potential. And changing that environment means the same things that we've just talked about. Adding different relationships into your life, changing the area that you work in. It may be changing your career like I did. It may not. It may just be changing the position that you have at the company that you work for. Go for a promotion this week. Apply for a better position at your company. Do something to increase your environment to help you embrace change and grow. Amen? Amen. I want to leave you with a couple of verses from the Bible this week as we end here. I've got this Bible. It's one that my family bought me. It's called the Message Bible. It's a remix Bible with more modern terminology, but the same meaning, but it adds more meaning. So I want to leave you with a couple of these verses from Proverbs. This one is Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 14. It says, an intelligent person is always eager to take in more truth. Only fools feed on fast food fads and fancies. Congenial conversation is such a pleasure, but the right words at the right time are beautiful. I hope these words today have been the right word for you at the right time, and this helps you. Always be eager to learn more, to do better, to change your life. Embrace change. You guys have a blessed week. I appreciate you coming on here every week. You do know that I am a real estate agent, and if either of you or any of you are interested in buying or selling a home or investing in real estate, you can reach out to me at the Patrick Lee Group, 806-570-7712. My digital business card created by Nick Krim and Michael K at contentcards.com will be posted in the comments below this video. Like and love the video. Share it with your friends. You might win a super surprise. You never know. From Patrick Lee. You guys have a great week. Love you. Bye-bye.